Module 2: Patriarchy's Impact on the South Asian Immigrant Community in Canada. Part 1: South Asian Immigrant Communities in Canada. South Asians in North America. South Asians are one of the fastest growing immigrant communities in North America. They form the second largest visible minority group in North America overall, while in Canada, South Asians are the biggest visible minority group. Although homogenized as a single ethnic identity, the group called South Asians includes people from many distinct places, including India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, and Afghanistan. South Asians in North America. Despite South Asians' diversity, their cultural similarities include the high value they attach to family relationships and interaction, maintenance of social networks within their cultural groups, and preservation of ethnic customs, traditions, and languages. While no large-scale studies on the prevalence of domestic violence in South Asian communities have been conducted in Canada, however, studies conducted in the US, UK, and anecdotal evidence from Canadian women's organizations and media coverage of abuse-related deaths in Canada suggest that domestic abuse and violence in the South Asian community is at least as prevalent as it is in the general population. However, there is underreporting of domestic abuse in South Asian communities. There are several reasons for the underreporting of domestic abuse and violence by South Asian women: financial dependence on the spouse after migration to Canada, lack of English language skills, lack of understanding of immigration and sponsorship procedures, lack of knowledge of one's own rights, lack of supportive social networks due to migration, and lack of knowledge about community resources. Many of these reasons are common to immigrant women from different visible minority communities who experience domestic abuse and violence. There's also the model minority myth. This is a term for the set of stereotypes that many in mainstream society believe about Asians in general. Model minority myths serve to perpetuate racism, especially anti-Black racism, by idealizing some minority groups over others based on certain perceived traits. South Asians are often portrayed in mainstream media as law-abiding, hardworking, self-sufficient, and having stable family relationships. The model minority myth is when people believe these are always true of all people who are from South Asia. There are repercussions for South Asian women who are experiencing domestic abuse, including the fear of not living up to the model minority stereotypes, stigma against revealing or talking about the abuse they are facing, and shame and guilt in asking for social services or police or public assistance. Culture-specific patriarchy. Some beliefs and practices specific to South Asian communities increase women's risk for domestic violence and inhibit them from seeking help. A study conducted by the Indian Women's Cultural Association in Edmonton highlights some of these beliefs and practices based on focus group interviews with immigrant women from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. Some of these beliefs and practices include the following. Culture-specific patriarchal beliefs include that men are the providers and protectors of the family, that boys have the responsibility to financially take care of their parents, that a family is not complete without a son, and that a woman who does not give birth to a son is inferior and can be divorced. Other culture-specific patriarchal beliefs include that a girl is a temporary family member because she moves to her husband's family after marriage, that girls must sacrifice their autonomy and freedom for the husband and his family, that women must suffer in silence for the sake of the family, and that if a family breakdown occurs, it is the mother who is to be blamed. Still more culture-specific patriarchal beliefs in the South Asian community could include things like spousal violence is something the woman must learn to live with, and it eventually ends with time. That the woman is the carrier of the family honor or izzat. That a girl child is a moral liability. That parents must control their daughter's sexuality as her actions represent the family's honor. That a girl can even be killed if she does something that her family does not agree with. That women are men's property and must have the permission of the husband and in-laws to go out, work, study, and socialize or even see a doctor. Even though their geographical and social contexts have changed, certain beliefs and practices are still closely held by many South Asian families. They include, among others, sons are more important than daughters, man is a woman's protector, the ideal wife must obey her husband, be loyal and self-sacrificing and chaste, children must obey parents and be dutiful towards them at all times, and a woman's primary role is towards the family and household. In the context of immigration and resettlement, such patriarchal beliefs can increase women's vulnerability to domestic abuse and violence, and they can also give the impression to mainstream service providers that there is cultural and religious sanction for these discourses, and that domestic abuse and violence is just a community problem.